to More Fanime. I'm your fan of more anime. What is up, everybody? Today I'm going to be taking a deep dive. I'm going to be reviewing chapter 1062 of the One Piece manga. Yeah! And as you can tell, the room I record these videos in, these reviews in, is getting a little empty. It's because I'm moving. Yeah. I'm moving about 2 hours away, 2 hours west near the coast. Very excited. I'll have a new office with new cool badass places to put badass anime figures and posters and all that fun stuff. I'm very excited. Boxes are everywhere, but I had to get this review for chapter 1062 out to you guys, the more Fanimaniacs, because it was fucking awesome. It is really the true beginning to Egghead Island arc, and fuck, was ya good. I mean, before we get into spoiler territory, if you guys could give me a like, a share, and a comment, and maybe a subscribe to help me with those YouTube algorithms, that would be rad. If not, I understand. So, for the cover story, we get to see that Chocolate Island, part of Big Mom's territory, is frozen over, which is pretty wild. So something's happening over at Big Mom's territory that has nothing to do with the Germa, is my guess, because there's no way. I've never seen the Germa 66 use ice-like powers. But there's one person, actually there's two people, no, there's three people we've seen use ice-like powers in One Piece. And the numero uno one, the man who can control ice like no other, is Aokiji. So my guess is Aokiji and maybe some Blackbeard pirates, because if you didn't know, Aokiji is part of the Blackbeard crew, went to Chocolate Island and are either just taking the poneglyph, or at least taking a picture of the poneglyph or writing it down. And also, there's another thing they might be interested in Big Mom's territory, and that's a certain somebody. Can you guess who it is? Can you? Please comment down below if you guessed before I said it. Yeah, that's right. It's Pudding. Pudding, who is part of the nearly extinct three-eyed tribe. One of the few people that can read the poneglyphs, or will be able to read the poneglyphs whenever she can figure out how her three-eye ability works. I think that Aokiji and maybe Shiryu have been sent to Big Mom's territory now that she has been taken down, or at least that, you know, Blackbeard knew that she was out of town, you know, hunting Luffy over at Wano. He sent Aokiji there, and now he's going to abduct Pudding, get the poneglyph, and move the fudge on, and use her to read them, so then he can find the One Piece. I think that's what Blackbeard's plan is. And Aokiji, you know, probably the 10th Titanic captain, needs to prove himself. He needs to prove to Blackbeard not only is he capable of getting the job done, but he's willing to be ruthless. He's willing to freeze this entire town and its people. I'm not sure if they're gonna be dead, because maybe he can freeze them and they're okay, and when he leaves they thaw and they're all alive. That's very possible. But Aokiji shows up, Ice Age, freezes everybody, finds Puddin', grabs her, and bounces. That's me telling you what's going on. And that's a prediction. I'm not 100% sure, but that's me thinking maybe 73% sure that it's Aokiji and some Blackbeard pirates wreaking havoc. I mean, I'm still not sure if Aokiji is actually a member of Blackbeard's crew. Like, is he undercover? Is this all a ruse, kind of like X-Drake? But maybe he's just going, let's burn this world down. Let's eliminate the world government because they are wrong. And I want revenge for what they did to me and all the people that I've had to hurt because of them. Very possible. Very possible. Maybe he's just like, let's just burn the world down and restart it. Maybe he thinks, I'll use Blackbeard's influence, Blackbeard's crew to my advantage. We'll take down the world government. He probably is just putting all his chips on Blackbeard because, I mean, Blackbeard's a smart dude. Blackbeard has 2 of the strongest devil fruits ever. And he's a good person to put your chips in. We'll have to wait and see. I would be surprised if Oda pulls another X-Drake moment. Maybe. I mean, I guess Aokiji could be part of Sword, a secret member of Sword. Maybe Aokiji will be the one to save Kobe. We'll just have to wait and see. But for chapter 1062 proper, we're in it, people. We are in it. And we got to learn a shit ton. And I think the best way to go through this isn't beat for beat. It's character for character. So let's start with Vegapunk. We find out Vegapunk is actually 6 different, like, cybernetic females that he created. I'm assuming there is an actual Vegapunk that is like sentiently controlling all of them in some way, shape, or form, but it does seem like they have their own personalities, that they have their own will, they have their own scientific projects, and their own jobs as part of this crew, as part of the 6 paths of Vegapunk. And that's fine. I think it's the best way for him to get his shiz done. He's probably a very old man. Maybe he did separate himself into 6 different people with 6 different personalities, and that's who these 6 women are. We know now of number 2, the first Vegapunk that we met in chapter 1061. And in this chapter, we meet number 6, who's this giant baby, like, maybe toddler-looking lady with half-colored hair, kind of like Yuta from Film Red. So, my guess is we will get to see another Vegapunk, but please comment down below, let me know. Is Vegapunk Cyborg number 1, is he the true Vegapunk, or is there a number 0, the original Vegapunk that we just haven't seen yet? There is a Vegapunk, I think it's number 1 with a helmet we get to see in this, and I'm very interested to see more and find out more, but he or she, they seem very interested in the Straw Hats. Miss number 2, though, is very interested in their treasure. She knows they are a Yonko crew and probably got a little bit of scratch on them, and she's like, hey, Straw Hat crew, your Cap ain't here. He's out, with his, a couple members of your crew. He ain't here. I bet you got some money on that big old ship of yours, on the Thousand Sunny. How about you hand that over and I won't have to mug you? And they're like, mug us. And then giant sea beasts come out of the ocean. Cybernetically enhanced sea beasts. I don't think they're robots. I think they're actual sea beasts. They surround the Sunny, and including the giant robot that is holding the Sunny, rescuing them, and they're going, give me your money. And the only time, let's jump into another character, the only time Nami gets to do anything so far is she's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're being mean, talking about taking our money. You save our lives, and now you want to take my treasure. That ain't happening, bud. That ain't happening. I'm Nami, and I don't give up shit. Let's talk about Sanji. Sanji's there, simping for our girl Vegapunk number 2, going, oh, what a beautiful lady, doing the oh, I love pretty women. It tracks, it follows for Sanji. I wish Sanji, had grown a little bit since meeting Pudding and, dealing with his Germa 66 bloodline starting to, change him just a bit. But he is still the Sanji we know and love. He is called an imbecile by Vegapunk in this this chapter, and you know, in a way, he kind of acts like one. Franky is also simping, but not for the female, but for the robots and for Vegapunk. He's a huge fan. He kind of considers Vegapunk like a mentor or like a someone he looks up to, because he did spend 2 years on Vegapunk's original island when he was a young man trying to change the climate of his original island. It was like a snow island. And he's like, "Hey, Super! What's up, Vegapunk? I stayed at your island for 2 years, brother. I have a lot of respect for you. Maybe we can have a conversation. I got things to show you. I was there 2 years and I didn't even get to see everything. I had to get back to the crew, you know. I really wish I could have, but I got these robot arms, these giant arms, and I got a giant robot inside the ship. You gotta see it. You gotta see all the things I built because of your stuff." And I'm thinking, because Franky did use some of Vegapunk's science back in the Dizzy 2 years ago, before the time skip, or during the time skip, and he built his new, you know, Franky arms and the General Franky, and some improvements to the ship and whatnot. I'm starting to think that maybe a lot of that technology might be very outdated, because Vegapunk built all that stuff when he was a very young man, maybe even a boy. So I'm starting to think, and I'm not the only one, that Franky might be getting somewhat of an upgrade this arc. If Vegapunk does turn out to be a good guy in the end, or at least helps out the Straw Hats during this arc, maybe him and Franky, because I do predict that this will be a Franky-centric arc. Please, Oda, give us some Franky. Franky needs an upgrade. He doesn't need hockey. It's okay if you give him hockey. I'll be fine if Franky gets some armament hockey of sorts. That's really the only kind of hockey I can imagine him getting. We'll see. I think Franky just needs a cybernetic upgrade. And you know, it took a while for me to come around to Franky's new beefy arms, the Chad-like arms and shoulders and whatnot, but I've come to really like the design. But I've always preferred the original Franky with the big forearms and whatnot, but his shoulders weren't so massive. Could you imagine if Franky is able to get somewhat of an upgrade, and now he can have all the technology he has right now in his arms, but reduce the size? You know, maybe he goes to more of a sleek, advanced look. You know how phones, they got smaller and smaller, and now they're kind of getting bigger and bigger, but still a more thin, like a thin TV type situation. He's got these massive, let me just move this camera just a little closer. He's got these massive shoulders, and maybe Vegapunk's gonna fix that for him. Gonna give him some new weapons. Maybe make his punch, his strong right or his weapons left that much more impactful. Here's to hoping that Franky does get somewhat of an upgrade, because if you've been following the story, Sanji got a boost from his German 66 bloodline. Zoro got his new sword, Odin's Blade, as a boost, and they're both badasses right now. Jinbei is just pure badass incarnate. He could also use some cool bonus, but he's already strong in his own right. I'm not saying a character has to be strong for me to like him. I just think Franky's long overdue. There is a theory that Usopp might have eaten Kanjuro's fruit since Kanjuro passed away, or might in the future find his fruit and have the ability to draw new projectiles, kind of like Kanjuro did back at Dressrosa for Usopp. That is a theory I can get behind, and that's a theory I hope happens for our boy Usopp. There was a time that I thought that Usopp might eventually get the giant fruit and be able to grow. But now that Luffy can become a giant, I don't think that's gonna happen. I think the best thing for our boy Usopp, who has shown the ability to draw when he drew the original Straw Hat flag, the perfect symbol for the crew. He can now draw his own ammo at any time. That would be sick. And he can draw other things, you know, who knows? An army of 10,000 men, of painted men, who knows? We'll have to wait and see, but I hope that theory is true. The theory comes from, I believe, chapter 1061, last chapter where they fell into the ocean. Usopp's face looked like he couldn't breathe underwater. He couldn't swim anymore. We'll see. It's probably nothing, probably just a theory, but I hope so. I really do. Usopp needs to upgrade as well, but he's got Elbaf coming. This Egghead Island, this is Franky's moment. And I'm ready for it. I hope you guys are too. What kind of design do you want to see Franky have? I want him to have sleeker shoulders, more speed, less reliance on the General Franky, in my opinion. I think the General Franky's a cool weapon, but it isn't as badass like when Franky took on Senior Pink with the little fisticuffs. So Franky's simping for Vegapunk. Sanji's simping for Vegapunk. Usopp is like, oh my god, we are gonna die. We are surrounded by these beasts. Vegapunk's standing there like, hey, y'all better give me your money or we're gonna mess you up. But then Vegapunk number 1, I believe, calls Vegapunk number 2 and is like, you are being such an imbecile because you're being distracted by the idiots who are simping for you. And you think that this crew is weak, but they are a Yonko crew. And she's like, yeah, they must have lots of money. And no, listen to me, number 2. Look at the swordsman. Look at Nico Robin, the demon child. They are ready to take your head off at any moment. And they show a badass shot. My favorite shot from this chapter. Gave me goose pimples all up and down the arms. They show Zoro and Nico Robin ready to fight. Zoro didn't put the bandana on yet, but he took the shirt off. He's just showing the rippling abs, and he's got his blades out at the ready. Nico Robin's got her hands crossed, ready for the dust fluss. And she's like, hey, I've never even heard of a female Vegapunk. Bitch, I know my history. These two are ready to strike. They're not worried about these sea beasts. Honestly, I bet Nico Robin could grab Vegapunk by the throat and snap its neck, the Robert, the cyborg, and then Zoro on his own, by himself, could come in and cut down every one of those sea beasts, even with their cybernetic enhancements. Then, you got Sanji, Franky, Usopp, Nami with her Power of Zeus upgrade that she got in the last couple of arcs. They will demolish you. Do you understand? You're making a terrible mistake. Take these Straw Hats to me. I have some questions for them. Speaking of questions, Zoro, like a badass, pulls his, starts to grab his blade and he's like, hey, Vegapunk, I got some questions for you. And you best play nice. And that's where it leaves us off. And I'm like, what kind of questions could Zoro have for Vegapunk? What kind of questions could he have? I can't even imagine what they are. Maybe he wants a cybernetic eye for his missing eye, so then he can have, full depth perception. I'm not sure how much the one eye has affected his ability to fight. But, it'd be cool if he can get a Robert eye. Otherwise, maybe I've heard maybe some theories. I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea what Zoro wants from Vegapunk. Please comment down below. Let me know what Zoro wants from Vegapunk. Because I'm dumbfounded. This brain hole is empty. All right, we move on to the other half of the crew. We got Chopper, we've got Luffy, Jinbei, and now, including Bonnie right now, hanging out on their way into part of Vegapunk's lab, I believe. They get in, we see Bonnie, and she explains that she is there to talk to Vegapunk because Kuma is her father. And Kuma doesn't have a personality anymore. He's not really a person anymore. He doesn't have control of his life anymore. But he was rescued by the revolutionaries, which I do believe Bonnie knows this, because Bonnie thinks in her head but does not tell Luffy. And I'm like, just tell Luffy that she met Sabo back at the Reverie. So there's something going on. Something happened. I cannot wait for Oda to show us a flashback or something of what happened at the Reverie. I'm thinking that something, shit went down. There was a fight with Fujitora and Green Bull and the revolutionaries. Sabo was there. Bonnie was there. Bonnie was probably trying to rescue her father. Her father didn't even recognize her. It broke her heart. It broke her heart. Bonnie, she's sad. Her daddy might be dead. I mean, he's alive, but he doesn't have much of a life left. And she wants to bring him back. And I have an assumption she became a pirate in the first place for this. She became a pirate to find her father. She found him. She found her father as a slave to the celestial dragons. Her father has become a weapon of destruction, and there's hundreds of these Kumas everywhere. And now she's pissed. She's PO'd. It's unforgivable. She wants to talk to Vegapunk, and he best have some answers, or she's going to kill his ass. And I'm excited to see how that goes down. So the Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper are looking for some noms. They're looking for some food. They run into this lab. Most of the lab is a projection for some reason. Don't really care why. Luffy, or holograms. Luffy tries to punch this giant lizard thing, goes right through it. They try to eat this ice cream. It's just a projection, can't eat it. Don't know why this is all in this lab. So then Vegapunk shows up and says, hey, what's up? We do have real food. Luffy gets punched by one of the Vegapunks into the food machine. It gives them burgers. They eat some delicious food. They're having a great time. It just generates food. It's awesome. The crew, they're like, this is dope as shit. Thanks, Vegapunk, number 6. I don't know how much they know about the 6 paths of Punk, but she kind of explains some of her technology. I think they're all going to meet up with the crew at some point. It's pretty sick. And then the biggest twist of all happens. I don't even know why they were trying to eat all this food. It obviously could be a trap, as said by Jinbei. Very exciting. But the biggest twist of all, the last 2 or 3 pages, we find out that CP0 are on the way. I assume they'll be there in the next 2 chapters. They are on their way to Egghead Island to eliminate all the paths of Vegapunk. I'm not sure if they're going to kill the original Vegapunk. I think it'd be a stupid-ass decision to kill the smartest man alive, especially after all these years. My only assumption is because of the duplicate Kaido fruit that Green Bull found at Wano when he saw Momo for the first time. He was like, what? What the fuck? Did Vegapunk make this? Did he finally duplicate devil fruits? That bastard said that was impossible. And maybe now they're thinking he's a traitor and they're going to go kill him. Maybe they're going to ask some questions, but they sound like they're there to kill him. Even Lucci's like, we're going to kill the most useful man in the world. My theory is maybe Lucci, my boy Lucci, back in the story. We're going to see Kaku versus Zoro again, maybe, or Kaku versus Brook in a sword fight. I'm very excited for that. Brook deserves a badass fight going forward. This is more Fanime. What do you think about Lucci coming back? Comment down below, let me know. Rob Lucci's back, and he's questioning the government. We have Sussy, or Stussy, whatever her damn name is. They're bringing one of those childlike pacifistas, the Safaras, whatever they're called, that we saw the Boa Hancock and Mihawk one back at during the Amazon Lily thing that just happened recently. But yeah, they're back, and shit's about to go down, people, and I'm excited because I love Rob Lucci. He's one of my favorite villains in this story, and I'm thinking he might turn on the government. I really do. He's starting to question his own job. Even Kaku's like, don't put us in this bullshit. This is more Fanime. Please comment down below. Let me know what you think. I'll talk to you later.